So here we are in a mostly stock install, something unusual for me, and I'm doing this to do something else that's also unusual. I want to display a mod craft, not something that I put together, but something, I want to show off the Skylon mod. Captain Kipard has been working on this model for a long time. I think he's been working on it for over a year. He's been like learning how to model as he goes. You have to go on the forums and just look at the history of his progress. Skylon. Skylon is a replica vehicle. It's a replica of something that does not yet exist in the real world. It is something that exists on paper, exists in computer models. This is a single stage to orbit from a runway takeoff. The real vehicle is planned to take up to 17 tons into 150-kilometer orbit, or lighter weight payloads into higher orbits, come back and glide down to a runway landing. This thing is freaking huge, for scale-wise. Take a look at this. This is a Kerbal-sized, it's a man door on the side of that thing. And this model is actually slightly scaled down from the plans for the real vehicle. Let's open this up. The plan for today, we're going to take our standard heavy payload of the big orange tank. I want to take this thing into a polar orbit. Let's call it, say, a 200-kilometer altitude polar orbit. Go ahead and close those payload doors. Yeah, this model is large enough, even though it's slightly scaled down from reality, from what's really planned. The payload, the bay itself can carry stuff 3.75 meters in diameter. It is fueled by liquid hydrogen, and the oxidizer is liquid oxygen. The engines. This is the real selling point of the Skylon. These are the Sabres. SABRE stands for Synergistic Air-Breathing Rocket Engine. Note, this is not a jet engine, not by the usual, the conventional understanding. The way this works, the Skylon, the SABRE engine, it takes intake air in here, and it runs it through this middle piece is called the pre-cooler. Instead of just feeding the air directly into the combustion section, in the intercooler, it takes intake air, it compresses it, and it cools it, and it turns it into liquid oxygen. And it feeds the liquid oxygen, into the engine. So, the pre-cooler is actually the real innovation here. And the pre-cooler is something that the real people that are actually want to build this thing, the pre-cooler, this is something that they have built. The whole overall vehicle has not been built, but the pre-cooler, it's been turned into real operating equipment. It's been demonstrated to work. So that's real encouraging. You know what? First thing I want to do here, let's go ahead and try a takeoff. I'm going to demonstrate what happens with this model if you try and take off without using SAS. I'll do my absolute best here. This thing weighs, sitting at takeoff, this thing weighs 185 tons, which is kind of a lot in Kerbal Space Program. You see a little bit of wobble there. Let's try pitch back, pitch, no, keep it steady. No, pitch back a little bit more. No. Yeah. All right. Okay. It's the Kerbal Space Program. We got explosions and stuff. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to show that just once. Really, for 185 tons, this thing doesn't have a whole lot of wing area to be working with, So we turn SAS on even before we start rolling. That's the way this vehicle needs to work. Okay, we've got everything all set. I believe we have everything all set. Yes, I think I actually give it a little bit of nose up trim as well. I should also mention that Captain Kipard has been working on this model. This mod has not yet been officially released. I mean, all these parts are in-game, they are working, but the actual stats is still very definitely a work in progress, and it's only advertised as working in stock aerodynamics. I know stock aerodynamics are going to change sometime soon, but we'll see what happens with this model after that. It does not yet work in FAR. That's going to be the second part of this video. I have a version, not an authentic to the planned, the real vehicle version, but my own version that is working in FAR and is working on my 6.4 scale install. But that'll be later. Right now, yeah, let's get this big orange tank, polar orbit. Let's go. SAS is on. We'll try not to mess with any of the controls and just allow the SAS to hold it straight. Once we get a little above 100 meters per second, we'll start to pitch back. There, gently raises the nose. Pitch back more. Do not... Oh, don't wobble. Please don't wobble. And, okay, we're off. We're off. Yeah, we dropped one wing. Let's pull the landing gear up. Okay, and we are flying. Whee! Isn't that fun? Oh, I like this thing. I think it is a beautiful space plane. I love the fact that the only... As far as something that could actually work in reality, the only really innovative thing about this vehicle is that pre-cooler technology. And that innovation, it has been demonstrated that it really does work. So there is a chance, I'll admit, let's be honest, it's kind of a remote chance, but there is a chance that this vehicle could actually be built and it could work in reality. I think what's much more likely is something, is a smaller, slightly less ambitious space plane will be put together. Something for smaller payloads, you know, a much smaller, maybe slightly less fantastical space plane will be put together using the Sabre engine technology. And they've got plans for to have a a habitable module. They have a module you can transport crew inside of there. Also, there's plans. They have what they call the Skylon upper stage. Really, it's just like a small little probe with a fuel tank and an engine. That say you could launch Skylon, climb up to launch it into your 200-kilometer orbit, say, and then the Skylon upper stage would be attached to your communications satellite, and they'd come out of there and take it up to geosynchronous orbit, and the Skylon upper stage would come back, redock with Skylon, and the plane would land with it that way. So it's a reusable upper stage, which I like that idea a whole lot. Okay, so I've tweaked this thing. I've tweaked the stats of it. I moved some mass around, and I changed some lift stats just to make it fly nice in stock aerodynamics. I gave it a little bit more liquid hydrogen than it originally came with. It is because I'm planning on burning, say, about 2,000 units of liquid hydrogen in this whole climb out. Okay, so here we are. Once we climb past 10 kilometers altitude, I want to start pitching forward some. I want to slow down my rate of climb. We want to really level out somewhere around 20 kilometers. Yeah, see, we're losing our intake air. Level out somewhere around 20 and accelerate. Get as close to orbital speed as we can get without running out of intake air. Okay, so now I'm watching this. Yeah, whenever the Sabres, whenever they kick over to vacuum mode, to rocket engine mode, it'll burn 2 hydrogen for every 1 unit of oxygen. So 26,000 hydrogen needs to be reserved for that mode, which means I got a little over 1,400 units of hydrogen to play around with just accelerating in the atmosphere. Okay, so we're just gonna gradual climb here, keeping an eye on our intake air. Whoa, oh, hey. Just as soon as I looked at it, it started getting scary. Yeah, I bet you we can't get too much higher. Above 20 kilometers, we'll start to run out of intake air once it gets down to like 0.10. And then I'll switch it over to rocket mode. And the stats that Captain Kipard has assigned to these engines, that's something that I did not touch when I was reconfiguring things. Let's actually switch this over to orbit mode so we can see our orbital speed. Let's ease forward, kind of level out, stop this climb. Yeah, definitely want to... Okay, our orbital speed is over 1,000 meters per second. Yeah, Captain Kipard has kept these engines pretty close to the claimed stats that the developers, that they say that they'll be able to get out of it. Okay, so we're down to 27,000 liquid hydrogen. So I've only got 1,000 left to play with in just accelerating this. So you can see our orbital speed. We're hard... the orbital speed actually dropping a little bit there when I pitched up some more. You know what? And this is still dropping too. I tell you what, we're going to go switch to rocket mode now. Alright, so now we're pulling 2 Gs of acceleration. Here, I'm going to pitch back some more like this, get a more aggressive climb going. Just to get that prograde marker up off the horizon a little bit more. Then I'll pitch down, and let's go over to map view. And what's my target? 200 kilometers, right? Okay, I'll try to limit it to 3 Gs of acceleration. Again, this is not a number that I just pulled out of a hat. I read the manual. You can download and read the manual of how they expect the real vehicle to work, and they say that it'll throttle back to keep it under 3 Gs of acceleration. So, hey, that's the way I'll fly this one. The apoapsis grows higher pretty fast. Let's take it down to like 1 G of acceleration. What's our altitude now? 42. I overshot just a little bit, but we're still in the atmosphere, still experiencing drag, so yeah, that's going to drop it just a little bit. Look at all this fuel we have left for doing our burn up there. Okay, so yeah, I've made some changes to the configuration of this thing. I changed the fuel levels, I changed the mass. Another thing I did, it's got this orbital engine back here, which gives it just its tiny little bits of thrust. It's exactly the same specific impulse as the main engines. This is useful for making more precise burns once you get in orbit. One thing that Captain Kipard's model did not have, but that I have included in this version, is I gave it a gimbal range of 5 degrees just to make things more controllable. And I put together, you know, in preparation for doing this video, I put together a module manager config. So anybody who is interested, you know, you can go and you can. I'll give a link where you can find the mod, find the model, and I'll make available also, you know, a link to my module manager config. Okay, so there we are. Are we out of the atmosphere yet? Yes, we are out of the atmosphere. Okay, and I put this in a hotkey. Let's open up the payload bays and open up our solar panels. Yeah, the sun's over there, so we're actually at right angles to our solar panel. Here, tell you what. One thing you'll notice here, okay, I'll turn off the SAS, and you can see I'm pressing roll, and look how slowly it turns. This thing, it actually has really powerful reaction wheels. He's got these things in here. They're like at 40 reaction wheel units, whatever they are, however many units of torque that is in Kerbal World. So they're really strong, but the vehicle is just so freaking massive that they feel weak. This is one reason why I gave it so much monopropellant, because I found that rather than using the... here, let's go to orbital camera mode if we're going to be doing this. Oop, here we go. Yeah, rather than trying to turn with the reaction wheels all the time, I found it more manageable to just give little quick bursts of RCS in the direction you want to go, to align it, say, with your prograde vector. And kill motion with RCS, then turn SAS on and turn RCS off. I believe in the official documentation for the vehicle, it didn't say exactly where they're planning on putting the RCS ports, so Captain Kipard just put them in a likely enough place. That it looks to like a likely enough spot to me. I'll start this burn with the main engines, and then I'll demonstrate another cool thing that you can do with this orbital engine, another innovation of Captain Kipard's to make this work in Kerbal Space Program. Okay, so let's burn some here. Let's actually try to point this thing downwards below the horizon so as not to let our apoapsis grow out of control. So that's growing. Here, let's just demonstrate one thing here really quick. Stage again, that lights our orbital engine, hit action group 2, and that shuts off the main engines. Come down here to this second part in the stack, click here, and click this to change it. That changes it from saber vector to orbital vector, and that actually changes where this points. So now the center of marker on the nav ball actually corresponds to the vector, the thrust vector from that orbital engine. And we'll throttle up in that thing. And you can definitely see how that works much more slowly. Yeah, much more slowly than the mains, but still, but this is definitely very useful for being much more precise with your orbital burns. Something I know I'm not being really precise with it right now, but I just kind of wanted to demonstrate the difference for people go and check out the mod yourself. And now we're getting really inefficient. We're like right in the middle of the arc. You know what? I'm going to stop right there. That's what I'm going to do. Right there, and we're going to tell it prograde. I sometimes forget to use those. All right, extremely close to circular. I believe that'll work. Okay, so let's go ahead and detach right here. Let's decouple that node. Turn RCS on again. And we'll just jet straight away from it. Luckily, yeah, this is a different install in that decoupling, the undocking bug has not reared its head here. So I'm pleased about that. Okay, yeah, so I don't have the Kerbal Engineer installed in here. I don't even know how much ridiculous extra delta V this thing has. A lot. Might be worth trying. Do you think this thing could go to the moon? I don't know. Maybe. But with the 3.75 meter cargo bay and these engines, which seem kind of overpowered until you realize that they are based on real technology that is being developed now. Okay, we'll call it near future technology, but the important part has been proven to work. This is genuinely, the engine technology is genuinely realistic, and so yeah, if you like space planes, try a Skylon, and this thing it's set up that this is a capable enough launcher that you could this could replace just about every other launcher. Only if you got something really big and bulky, something that won't fit in the payload bay, might you need a conventional rocket. Just about anything else, the Skylon will work whenever you're using stock, and it's definitely got a very useful niche in the rescaled install. Okay, so let's go ahead and start setting things up for a deorbit. Yeah, I'm going to do my traditional re-entries. I usually like to first drop it down to a 100-kilometer circular orbit and then do the re-entry burn from there. All right, close enough. Yep, definitely close enough to circular. And of course, now our orbit is about 90 degrees away from our Kerbal Space Center, so we'll probably just do some more fast forwarding here, huh? Looks like just trying to judge how far it's rotating per orbit. And probably not. You probably will catch it the next time around, right? So let's kill that time warp. Okay, retrograde. Still using the orbital engine. Maybe we could switch over to the others, but this will work. Okay, right about there. Alright, let's close everything up. Spin ourselves around prograde again. Shut down the orbital engine. Relight the mains. Yep, it's going to take a slight left turn. Tell you what, let's go ahead and give it a little bit of left bank right now to help with that project. Of course, my problem re-entering from this angle. The landscape doesn't really look familiar, does it? It's like, oh, okay, that's that range of mountains right there. Okay, so coming over this way. So, yeah, our Kerbal Space Center is actually over there some. You see, we still have these things set up for rocket mode. I'll tell you what I want to do. Let's light the engines. Turn it this way. Let's go ahead and make a left turn. Pull some G's doing this. Aim for, say, like that peak over there. That'll be our aiming target. Tell it trying to climb again. There we go. We'll go for a really extreme angle like that. And let's keep it under 3 Gs. Come on. Let's see what that does for us. That's looking better, isn't it? Okay, and shut the engines off. And roll right side up, wings level again. Ooh, liquid oxygen is almost gone with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit 1. Let's turn it back over to air breathing mode. We do not have enough intake air yet. Let's point the nose down. Oh, did I really screw this up? I added so much speed to this thing. We're trying to climb. Let's change modes again. I really screwed this up. That's what I get for doing burns without looking at the map mode or anything. Oh, I really screwed this up. Here's Kerbal Space Center. We're climbing away. We're not putting my apoapsis halfway to the moon. Oh, that's excellent. Alright, I shouldn't have done that. Let's just cease burning anything again for a while. We'll climb up out of the atmosphere again, and I should have looked at my orbital speed. All sorts of stuff that I should have looked at. I just didn't. Oh, I'm incompetent. Yeah, let's climb up out of the atmosphere and open up our solar panels again. Yeah, I should have gone deeper into the atmosphere and made that turn using more aerodynamics and less engine. That's what I should have done. I was just getting impatient with it. Bad news. Maybe go looking at a South Pole landing. How about that? So if I were to go for that South Pole, I would want to turn right. Let's go ahead. We'll try and set up a bank angle for that. Okay, we are now technically in atmosphere. We'll try and put our lift vector in a direction that'll be useful for us. Can't really see it moving yet, not really. Fast approaching the periapsis. Let's try let's go for a stronger S-turn, try to get some more drag out of it at this point. Okay, yeah, you can see us pulling half a G here. I really don't want to let the direction... Oh, another thing that I need to do, because it's still thinking of the orbital vector, let's go ahead and let's do control from here. Yeah, okay, good. Because that could have made a difference. And we're past the periapsis. We're starting on our way back up. I think it's looking real likely that we're going to climb up. We're going to get back into space again. We're going to skip through the atmosphere twice. I could, once I get back up to apoapsis, use this with remaining fuel, do a retro burn, but I kind of really just don't want to. I want to keep that fuel in case it's really necessary for maneuvering to a landing spot. This is the value, I think, in recording and doing these gameplay videos and recording stuff live. scripting stuff, it's okay to have a plan, to think about stuff that you want to do in any particular video. But really, I'm personally having a whole lot more fun with this mess that after I made this really stupid mistake. Making a really stupid mistake and then dealing with it, I think is probably going to end up being a whole lot more fun than if this entire mission had gone just exactly as I'd planned it. If I'd just taken off, deployed the payload, and landed at Kerbal Space Center in the first try. So, that's my opinions on making gameplay videos anyway. Every once in a while I'll do the post-commentary thing, but recording it live is just about always better. So now what are we looking at? Now we've got a couple more. Man, there's a whole lot of ocean over here on this side of the planet, but the plan we do have is this long, skinny island type things that we're looking at. Okay. And just center it right there. Now let's take a look what this path is doing. Do I want to? I think I still want to turn right. Yeah. And that'll get us over more land. So let's roll to the right. And again, try and go for our high drag configuration. There, we're just now hitting atmosphere. Point that lift vector totally sideways. Create drag, change our path over the ground. Do not provide any lift. Let's just try and slow down, decelerate as much as possible in a useful direction. Oh, okay, Periapsis is moving away from us now, getting further away. Good news, good news. Okay, now what kind of, where are we going? Well, we could land here, we could go all the way to the South Pole. We'll find out. It's trying to kick at me a little bit as we actually get some reasonable airspeed. I really hope that someday that the stock game will give us an equivalent airspeed gauge. That would be just so useful for me to know right now what is my equivalent airspeed. I don't know. Okay, that's so. We definitely want to go for more of a right turn then, don't we? Alright, let's click the off the prograde button. Fast approaching the very thick air. Let's start to roll slightly more wings level. Keep the turn going, but I also want to pitch up and try to level out some. Okay, lots of little stuff. We could land over here. We could go. Let's try and fly over that way. See what's happening on this little chunk of land. I suppose I could have landed over there. Yeah, it looks like maybe is this slightly less hilly up here? I'm not liking all these hills and stuff, dude. At least this is for me, this is a new experience. I know I've never landed over here, Kerbal Space Program, before, so that's something. Just pull this camera back. Just take a look around. Oh, there's a whole bunch of flat stuff over here. Yeah, that'll work. That's good for landing. Could I be any further away from Kerbal Space Center? I am almost exactly in the opposite side of the planet. Maybe in my long history of missing the target, this may be the actual farthest distance, because we're on the completely 180 degrees opposite side of the planet. The moon looks pretty cool over there, though. So, you know, that's something. So, let's... Oops, I didn't mean to turn the SAS on. Let's actually kill throttle. Let's put some landing gear out. Start looking. We've got our lights on. Help us see the terrain. It's not perfectly smooth. Oh, we're slowing down too much. Do you see that? Let's pay attention to that surface speed. I want it up there. Let's try for like 90. Now those engines are too strong. The radar altimeter would be really useful. And now we're slowing way down. Well, okay, we're actually controllable at this very slow airspeed. Let's try for closer to 70. The vehicles, you know, its landing manners do tend to be a whole lot better in takeoff. It's just so heavy at takeoff. Okay, there's terrain. They're slow. Oh, no! Oh, I couldn't see how lumpy the ground was. I couldn't. Oh well. Yeah, it's not as funny a crash. Oh hey, that's good. Levitating. Yeah, it's always good stuff. Levitating wing panels. It's just never as funny a crash if there aren't any Kerbals involved. Okay, well, you know, I was planning on doing just like one video in which I would showcase the Skylon both in stock, on stock Kerbin with stock aerodynamics, and in the rescaled using FAR. But this whole adventure took so long that this will definitely be a video in all and of itself. So I will do another one with Skylon with my version, which I've changed configuration some, in the rescaled Kerbin with what's this? Oh, that's your landing gear. Poor landing gear. Yeah, rescaled Kerbin using FAR. And that'll be a different video. And then we'll get back into the regular Legend of the Kraken storyline. Okay. It's good talking to you, and we'll talk to you some more. Goodbye.